Well, I'm going to revisit the canopy. You know, I just wasn't really all that happy with the way the canopy came down and met the fuselage at a big angle. And I tried to be okay with it, but I just couldn't do it. So, reshaped the front, trying to make it more of a gentle curve there as it meets the fuselage. The black demarcation here, that's where the fuselage would be. So that took me about an hour to do that. And now I'm going to add some sanding sealer and start prepping this. I'll have to fine tune it and then once again apply more fiberglass. Fiberglass, the revised Canopy plug. Again, it was a 6-ounce cloth and a 2-ounce cloth, and peel ply is on right now. And I went ahead and fiberglassed the whole thing instead of just doing this half up here, which is what I reshaped. I went ahead and just sanded back as much of the black as I could and had to get rid of that release wax that I had put on it. So I went ahead and just sanded it all back and fiberglassed the whole thing. I finally got the plug ready. It was in a gloss black, but I didn't like the way the surface looked, so I sanded all that back and filled in some more areas, and then gave it a coat of flat gray primer, and it's shiny because then I gave it 2 coats of Partol release wax like I did for the first canopy, and this one's ready to go. So I've loaded up a piece of the white, a 30,000ths of an inch white. I guess it's ABS. Again, I don't have much use for this stuff, so this will be good to practice and to make a base for the clear. So let's give this one a whirl. You know, it's a shame that this is not clear, because I seem to be so much better at pulling this ABS than I do with pulling the clear. Let me just show you real quick what happens if you don't support or cover your blue foam. You can see how in the middle here the blue foam has sunk down. Now this happened to me a few years back when I did another canopy, except that happened to the canopy itself. I used blue foam, I did not protect it at all. I just used the raw blue foam, and then I did thermal vacuum, and I got these big sinkholes right in the middle of the plug. So that's when I learned that fiberglassing to strengthen the blue foam helps to prevent this from happening. I used the 5-ounce and then the 3/4 ounce for that, and that's all it takes. So anyway, just a graphic to show you why you need to support the blue foam with fiberglass or something. The excess ABS has been trimmed. And also I added some 1/64 of an inch chart pack tape around what I think is going to be the cut line. And I wanted some 1/32 inch, but the store where I get this is 3-hour drive, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm hoping that the 1/64 will stand tall enough to where it'll give me a cut line. Well, I'm not sure. It didn't quite suck all the way down around the bottom. I think it got far enough to where I need to trim, but I don't think my trim line is going to show up. Up here, I think it will, but along the sides, I don't think it will. Overall, looking at it, I could live with it. Actually, the 1/64 chart pack tape does show a line right along here, but as expected, I don't really have it on the sides because they didn't pull down enough. So I'm going to give this one more shot. All right, better. I just don't think I'm heating this clear plastic up quite enough. I heated this one up a little more than that, and yeah, I got a good pull down around the sides. I may actually even get the, yep, I can feel there is a ridge for the cut line. So that did much better. Well, a new problem, which I don't know why it happens and I don't know how to fix it. So these are my two canopies. This one was the one that it didn't quite seal all the way down around the sides, and this one was the one that I hoped to use. It had a good seal all the way around. If you notice on the side here, you can probably tell from the sound how thin that is. The right side is okay. It's fairly strong, top, strong bottom, front, back. But the side here, you can probably tell how weak it is. This is the canopy I'd wanted to use, but you can probably tell that is even thinner, even weaker. Top is okay, front, back, right side is okay, but from right about here back to about here, this area is just really thin. Notice that it's on the same on both sides. So there's something about, I don't know, this side of the vac thermal-vac forming machine that is causing this side to get weak. I've done some research, reading some articles on the internet about why plastic gets thin in some areas, and some of it, is intuitive. Plastic's too hot. But I came up with two ideas that might be the reason why my plastic is getting thin. One of them is the plug is so deep. The plastic has really got to stretch over to come all the way down here, causing the plastic to get thin. And that would explain this, but the rest of the sides don't get thin. I mean, they're good. It's just this one area right here. Oh, and even on this ABS plastic here, it's a little bit thin right in this area. You can feel it. So the other issue is heat distribution. I read one article that said at 10 points along your plastic sheet, the temperature at each of those points should be within plus or minus 5 degrees Fahrenheit of each other point. That's never going to happen here, but that just kind of shows you the importance of heat distribution and why this is kind of an art form. So how am I going to resolve that problem? So again, the thin plastic is on this side. And by bringing the plastic over, you'll see that this is the area right here that's getting thin. And you'll see that the heating element is basically a single coil around until you get to right here, and then it's kind of doubled up. So I'm thinking that's why there's too much heat coming up in this area right here. So the way to kind of resolve that, again from reading articles, is to put a little heat shield. So I've got some simple aluminum foil, and I'll set it up something like this. I have a wood block. I'll soak it in water to kind of hold it up. And I'm thinking that that will prevent direct heat coming up and hitting this area of the plastic. Hopefully I get a little more uniform heat distribution. I finally got a decent canopy pull. I'll tell you, I went through at least 15 pieces of plastic to try to get this. And I filmed them all, but I'm not going to show you them because they're all fails. Basically, most of them wound up like this, where I didn't get the plastic pulled all the way down to the base of the plug. So I had this wide flange here. And since my cut line is actually below that, this wouldn't have worked. It had stuck out. So I tried three things to improve my pull. basically I don't think I was getting enough vacuum. So the first thing I did was I went into the plug and I used my foam cutting tool, and I cut channels into the foam going out to the edge, trying to get some more vacuum around the edges. I also cut back this ABS plastic piece a little bit. It was kind of flanged out, so I thought I'd help myself by cutting this back some. But I think what really helped, and I read this on some website, is that if you've got a large vacuum area like this, to tape off so you just have a small area that the vacuum is getting to. And I think that was probably the biggest help. It only took me, I think, 2 tries with this tape to get this pull. Now this plastic is not perfect. It is far from perfect. In my quest to try to figure out how to solve my forming problems, I let my plug get a little bit dirty, and in the final pull here, yeah, there are some little nibs sticking in the plastic and there are some imperfections. You know, at this point, I'm not going to sweat it. I'm going to just run with what I got and just live with it. You know, I definitely gave it my best shot. This whole process, work-wise, creating the plug, getting it ready, practice or doing the vacuum forming, going through at least 15 pieces of plastic plus the ones that I recycled. It took me a good solid 2 weeks, and I'm ready to just throw in the towel at this point and go with this piece. After taping the canopy in position with the glue, I added some coat hanger clamps, just cut pieces of coat hanger, rather thick wire, and then I used rubber bands to kind of adjust the tension on them. And I added some plywood cauls. They don't have to be plywood. These are just a flexible piece of wood that I had. They're just scraps, and the idea is that being flexible, they can kind of bend around the canopy shape and apply even pressure to the canopy. So we'll let this sit probably all day, let it sit overnight, and I won't think I'll work on this anymore until tomorrow. And I should add, you probably noticed that I didn't add any glue to the front or to the back of the canopy. After the glue on the sides dry, I'm going to come back in and apply a bead of glue along the front and back to at least seal the front and back. This will all be covered with the fiberglass framework that I'm going to have, but I still want a little bit of glue, trying to hold the edge down. Well, that's one way to get it off. Yeah, I think I can finally call the canopy complete. It is glued in place. It will get a little more glue support when I add the fiberglass framework that I want to add. Overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the canopy. It certainly required a lot more effort and resulted in more failures than I had anticipated or hoped. I am happy with the way the front of the canopy fares into the fuselage. That was really the goal of revisiting the canopy. So I'll call it complete, and this will be the end of this video for the fiberglass framework. That'll be coming up in the next video.